Happy Mother's Day. This weather video driven by 802cars.com representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, and 802 Honda, all located off of exit 7 on Interstate 89. Here's our 850 millibar area of low pressure depicted, and we've had a little bit of snow in parts of southern Vermont, and at one point Woodford, Vermont picked up 2.5 inches. And then over toward Keene and some of the higher elevations, they've seen as much as 4 inches of wet snow this morning. This is now exiting out of our region, and warmer air has moved into the region, so it's really not a factor. This occurred mostly during the late evening hours into the early overnight period, and has since really changed. Currently, temperatures do illustrate the point here, and you can see that temperatures down in parts of southern Vermont, a little cold pool associated with this area of low pressure, this wet nor'easter tracking into the Gulf of Maine. So some of our higher elevations, this is the shocking morning video on Mother's Day 2017. And this is Shrewsbury, Vermont. And what you can see is when the lower clouds lift, you can see a little bit of snow on the highest elevations. This is current conditions. As you can see, the little bit of snow, and now in western parts of New Hampshire. This is advecting to the north and east fairly quickly as this low tracks. And we can see a little bit of drier air in train now with more showery weather for Mother's Day here. I think the more steadier rains have now moved on, but many of the areas east of the Green Mountains will continue to see pretty much off and on light misty drizzles or sprinkles, and that's going to be the case, it looks like, right into the evening hours tonight. So looking at the current model here, this is valid at 9 o'clock this morning, and this is kind of what we're looking at. A little bit of a dry slot is going to kind of work up from south to north in this sort of complex pattern here, and then it does fill in. This is by 3 o'clock this afternoon, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we get into 9 o'clock this evening, 10, and then finally we're talking midnight here. Still raining pretty good. In fact, the shower activity actually picks up a little bit. In terms of total precipitation, you can see the heaviest chunk of moisture has moved out the coast of North Carolina, eastern Massachusetts, southern Maine. This is off the coast, and this is not heading our way, but this is the main tropical portion of the shield here, and fairly dynamic. But we're looking at around 3/10 of an inch additional precip here through about midnight tonight. Okay, the main issue, though, is going to be wind, and as this area of low pressure tracks off into the north and east of us, it's going to actually intensify as the same thing that produced that cold pool, a little bit of snow in southern Vermont, and then tracked it into New Hampshire, is all going to intensify this area of low pressure. And so our local winds are going to increase. They're starting to do so in the Champlain Valley, depicted here by the European model. And this is valid roughly about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then later in the day tomorrow, those winds do fall off. So they do flare up in the afternoon, and the VELCO WRF 1 kilometer resolution model does indicate some little surge of wind rather that comes down and through the Champlain Valley. It channels a little bit through the southern parts of the Champlain Valley, and it does enhance the winds here as this area of low pressure begins to wind up a little stronger. Okay, this is the VELCO WRF, valid 3:30 in the morning, and with 10-minute shots here, you can see a little bit of gusts here over 40 miles per hour across Lake Champlain. And those winds become a little more enhanced as we get into the mid to late morning hours. Right about here, this is about 9:40 in the morning. And then you can see some gusts just a little bit over the thresholds here. Now that we have leaf out, we are susceptible for some low impacts at this point. And you can see those winds do blow out, and this is about 12:10 in the afternoon on Monday, and you can see that the southern parts of Vermont are becoming enhanced a little bit. Our elevated summits, generally in mostly central Vermont and southern Vermont, we'll also see some strong gusts above about 2,000 feet elevation. Doesn't look like a big day or anything in winds, but we probably will have some low impacts based on leaf out, and also the fact that our ground is relatively saturated. And a quick look here at the European model. Once again, this is temperature projections centered on Montpelier, Vermont. That's European. This is the GFS model here, and you can see our warm-up for the middle part of the week, Wednesday into Thursday, then another drop-off, unfortunately. So looking at the GFS here, the temperature is not quite as cold as what the European's depicting, but I feel these are probably a little bit more accurate. I'm not sure about 85 or 4, but I think in the low 80s is probably doable. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.